Hey everybody, it is December 31st. The mailman just left and no TTMs today, but I wanted to do a TTM recap for the year and kind of show you my stats. Before I get there, this is my new kind of TTM filing system. I know it seems crazy. That's my stepdad and my little guy when he was still little. But what I do is up here I have all my TTMs, and eventually these are all Pokemon boxes, ETBs, which are really cool. Eventually I'll move some of that stuff over and I'll spread out my TTMs so it's all even easier to see. But right now this is kind of where I am. I just have stuff everywhere. Stuff everywhere. But look, my comic books are kind of finally getting a little bit more in order, much better than it was. I still have that big old stack to go through, and then all those boxes are ones I'm giving away, or doing Facebook Marketplace or whatever. Those are the ones I'm thinning out. But yeah, so what I do is I take these boxes and I sort them by type and kind of by decade. So I have a lot of baseball. So it says 80s, 80s, 80s. That one says 90s. This is 2000s plus. This is pre-80s baseball, football, basketball, additional sports when I just have smaller ones, non-sport and racing. These are just some in-person autos that I keep in those semi-rigids. These are duplicates. This year I'm hoping to get a lot more than maybe do some big trades with some other TTMers. That's the hope. Maybe do like, I don't know, like big, like 150 card trades. But I'll get to that later. That's just my thought. My duplicate box is pretty thin because I did trade some this year and I also gifted some this year, because it's fun. It's just fun to do. But let's look at my year. So I don't know if you know this, but I'm the kind of nerd that likes a good spreadsheet. And so I keep all my TTMs, I track them all on a spreadsheet on my computer. And if I had to do it again, I would have formatted it a little differently. What I do right now is I record the date I sent something, to whom I sent it to. I break it out by sport, like or whatever they're, actor, football, baseball, whatever. And then I record what I sent, 2 cards and a question, something like that. And then I record what day it came back. I do I have a quick program in there that'll calculate how many days it was gone between the day it was sent and the day it came back. And then I have like a comment where I put down there, hey, returned 2 cards, or returned 1 of 2 cards signed in black Sharpie, answered a question, and if they answer a question, I just don't have it in there. That helps me prepare myself for if I send to them again. Also, if somebody has questions, I can tell them exactly what I sent. I don't record the addresses that I use because I look them up every time. Like, I know such and such is a good signer, but in 6 months or 8 months when I try to send to them again, or maybe a year, their address may have changed. And so I don't want to just assume that whatever address I sent to last time is still valid. I recommend you do the same thing. The only thing I would have changed is with my date returned. Like I said, I have a comment with what I got back, but I wish I filtered that out somehow to let me know how many cards I got back easy, with like an easy drag automatic calculations, because what I have now doesn't do that. So if you're getting started and you're going to use a spreadsheet, that's kind of a fun little thing to do. So maybe still do an added comment, but maybe put in another column that says how many cards, something like that. I'll also add myself a comment like keeps duplicates, or only send 1 card at a time, won't sign multiple, something like that. Again, it's just a good reference tool. But let's look at my 2024. So I wrote myself some notes because there's no way I'm going to remember this. 2024 was great. I started using the Rookies app to do non-sports autographs, and that was super fun. So instead of trying to find legit cards, I was able to make them. So legit cards like Mork and Mindy cards. I could go off and make one like this cool John Larroquette card, because John Larroquette, as far as I know, doesn't have an actual like Topps card. Yeah, so that was really helpful. I know a lot of people send photos, and that's really easy to do. I just do cards because it's easier for me to store them, and it's my jam. Also, this year I started sending to models. I saw on Star Tiger and Sports Card Forum, that some people were sending to some adult models. I was like, yeah, that might be fun. And so I found that Playboy made a bunch of cards, and so I probably spent way too much buying boxes of cards and ripping those to find cards to send out there. It would have been cheaper for me to just buy singles, but on eBay the singles were like $2 a card or whatever. I'm like, I don't want to do that. Let's just see what I can get. Plus I get to rip cards. That's fun. So that's what I did. The thought was that I was just gonna sell whichever ones I didn't use back onto eBay. I'm like, hey, if we're getting $2 a card, I'll sell mine for $1. I'll make all my money back. I haven't done that yet because I haven't figured out how to do one post with like the pick your own option where you can like fill your sets. I haven't figured out how to do that. So let's get into it. I sent in 2024 722 separate requests. Of that, 27 came back. That's not an exact science because that's another thing. I don't always record what the dates that something came back. I just record return to sender, and towards the end of the year, I started recording what address I used last time. So just in case I sent to the wrong address and it changed somewhere, again, it's just another good reference. Because it might have sent to the right address, and I see that other people are getting returns from that address, I might try to send and use that same address again, and not just assume like maybe something would happen with the mail, maybe my handwriting was poor or something, who knows. So 27 came back undeliverable, which is just a little more than 3% that I sent out. Of the cards I sent out in 2024, 521 of them came back with an autograph. That's about 72%. But then I also got 162 returns from stuff I sent in 2023. So that's nice on top of that. So altogether, 683 returns last year. Pretty awesome. I pretty much got an autograph every day in the mail. A few exceptions, but that is so it's really fun to go out there and figure out. It's just a surprise of what's going to show up. My mailman doesn't like it, but whatever. They're just cards, not bad. So 683 returns, really good. My oldest return was David Treadwell, 499 days. It came back. So never give up. You never know. My average days of returns, I had a bunch that came back in like 6 and 7 days, which is super fun. But David was my longest. But my average for all my returns in 2024 is 56 days. I think usually, the bell curve, or like the median, or the mean. It's the median. It's been a long time since I was in high school. It's probably like 45 days. Like that seems to be, for me, it's like 30 to 45 days. And it really depends on, like, if you're sending to people who sign a lot, they usually have a quick turnaround time. I feel like they have the process down. But if you send to people who may not get them all the time, sometimes those take a little bit longer. And if you send to somebody who does a lot of multiples, sometimes that takes a lot longer, as opposed to like, is it Rick Cerrone, who only signs one per, and he's got a quick turnaround time, but he's only signed one. But instead of doing 4 or 5, or some of these NASCAR guys will send whatever you send them, they'll sign it, which is amazing. So I think a lot of them come back within like 30 days. 30 to 45 seems to be the sweet spot. That's another thing, I didn't record easily to calculate how many people will answer questions. I still feel like basketball's pretty rough on actually answering the questions. Football's hit and miss. 20-ish percent of the time, like 1 out of every 5 will answer. Basketball may be a little worse than that. NASCAR is probably like 7 out of 10. If you're sending to the guys in the 90s, the 90s max cards, man, they'll answer questions. It's awesome. Baseball, 30 to 40% of the time they'll answer a question. Again, that'll depend on who you're sending to. Like the older ball players are far more likely to sign, like from this, or answer a question like from the 50s and 60s. A lot of times they'll answer your question. The younger kids, if you're able to get an autograph from a current player, chances are they're not going to answer a question, but I still encourage you to send one. So I have received a few responses, but why not? It's only, I just write a little question on an index card and send it in there, and hopefully I get it back. And sometimes I do. So my most exciting return last year, I had to think about it. I think my most exciting and surprising one, didn't really think I was going to get it back, was Kevin Costner. I think it was super fun. You can kind of see he did ink pen, kind of hard to see there, but he actually signed the back also. And that was really fun. That was my most surprising one. My biggest multiple is I got the all 3 Ed, Jerry, and Teddy McClure. So I got triple signed. That's my only triple signed card. And what was cool about that is I sent to, I don't remember which one I sent to, but I don't know if I sent it to Ed and he got the other 2 to sign it or whatever, who I sent it to originally, but all the brothers signed it, and then the card came back. And I was like, that was awesome. So 1 letter, 3 autographs. That was fantastic. So super excited about that one. I did want to say that there might be more, but for sure, rest in peace to Carl Erskine, former Brooklyn Dodger. He was a great signer. I only got him on a couple cards, unfortunately. And also a great signer was Bobby Allison, passed away in 2024. So I know there's a lot of other athletes and celebrities that you would sign for their fans, which is amazing, that unfortunately passed on. But those are the 2 that came to mind as I was thinking about this. So let's talk about how I did individually. I broke it out because it's fun. I broke it out by types of cards for my returns. And I got 41 actors. I got 19 model returns. 5 musicians, 3 for miscellaneous celebrities like chefs and stuff. I got 4 back for historical or military, and those are really fun. Those are all rookies apps cards I made. I like those a lot. I got 1 back from WWE. I got 5 MMA. Now these are the number of returns and envelopes, not necessarily representative of how many cards. So I've most likely sent multiple cards. So 24 Olympic, 2 soccer, 19 golf, super fun. 39 hockey. I started sending hockey this year. It was really good. I figured out how to do the Canada Post and for the return. That worked out really well. 30 basketball, 65 football, 106 racing. I bought a bunch of the 90, 91 maxes. And so as soon as I get done sending all those out, the racing is going to slow way down. And then my biggest one, which is not really a surprise, is 263 returns for baseball. So that was fun. I say it every time just because I have so much fun doing it. If you are interested in TTMing, and if you run into any issues, I do have a TTMing 101 beginner's guide in my videos. Feel free to look at that. Actually, I'll even put it in the description if this is the first time for you. But if you run into any issues or you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me or any of the other TTMers. I've never met a TTMer who wasn't super helpful and willing to help anybody with hey, what are you doing when you run into this issue? Or I used this address and it came back. I saw that you got somebody back. What address did you use? Do you happen to remember? Anything like that, like super friendly community. Good guys. So thank you so much to not only all the TTM community for being so wonderful, but for you all for just hanging out with me for a little bit. I appreciate y'all. I hope you have a wonderful New Year's, and I'll talk to you later.
Bunch of nerds.